She stood at the apex of the Dominion's might, a symbol of fear etched into the stars. Varaxa, supreme general of the Falcon Empire, had never known defeat. Planets knelt. Species surrendered. Civilizations extinguished themselves rather than face her wrath. For her, war was a science, perfected and repeated with cold efficiency. The Dominion's doctrine was clear: suppress, subdue, survive. They believed peace was an illusion, and only through control could chaos be tamed. Varaxa was its purest executor. Now, Earth hovered on the fringe of her campaign path, a blue anomaly barely worthy of notice. Intelligence classified humans as unpredictable but technologically primitive. The invasion was procedural. She reviewed their culture with disinterest. Warlike history, tribal politics, erratic behaviors, emotional decision-making. Her fleet arrived in sole orbit with no resistance. Earth's defense satellites were laughably outdated. Communications from a united human confederacy pleaded for negotiations. She deleted the transmission. Then came the anomaly. A man's name appeared repeatedly across intercepted communications. Elias Wren. No formal rank. No military designation. A civilian strategist, recently attached to the Confederacy's Survival Council. He had predicted her attack vectors with alarming precision. The first human colony she targeted should have fallen in hours. Instead, it resisted for 12 days. Untrained civilians using unpredictable tactics, disrupting her formations. She adjusted, recalibrated, overwhelmed. But it wasn't clean. She ordered a data probe. The resistance followed patterns, erratic but orchestrated. Elias Wren was coordinating them remotely. She studied his background. A former anthropologist turned military advisor after Earth's outer colonies fell. Known for unorthodox tactics, unconventional ethics, and an alarming ability to predict enemy behavior. He had challenged internal military authority and been nearly removed. Instead, he rose. Curiosity was not something Varaxa tolerated, but she was curious. Their first indirect contact came through a captured broadcast. He wasn't speaking to her. He was addressing humanity, but she felt the words dig under her armor. "You don't be a machine by becoming one," he said. "You beat it by refusing to think like it." She watched it twice. Then again, she restructured her campaign, expecting to trap him. He evaded every plan. The Dominion's analysts recommended extermination protocols for any region linked to Elias. She approved the measures. But when the day came to erase a small settlement rumored to be his last known location, she delayed the strike 3 times. No strategic reason, just hesitation. He wasn't there, but the pause saved 1,000 lives. When asked, she gave no explanation. Her advisors noticed a change. They blamed stress. She let them. Then came the first message. Encrypted, human-originated, delivered through an ancient diplomatic frequency the Dominion hadn't used in generations. One sentence. "If you want to understand us, stop trying to dominate us." She didn't respond, but she didn't erase it either. The next day, another message. "You can't analyze chaos. You can only feel it." He was baiting her. She replied, "Chaos leads to extinction." He answered, "So does arrogance." And the war changed. The battlefield shifted from explosions to philosophy. Each night, she read his messages. Cold, sharp debates. Questions she hadn't asked herself in centuries. She hated the effect. In one exchange, he asked, "What do you feel when a species surrenders?" She responded, "Victory." He replied, "That's not a feeling. That's a metric." She didn't sleep that night. Her campaigns grew less efficient. Still victorious, but slower. Losses increased, not significantly, but statistically notable. Her second-in-command, Corval, voiced concerns. "You're overthinking the humans," he warned. "They are unlike the others," she replied. "They are still insects. Step on them." She didn't answer, because part of her wasn't sure anymore. One night, he sent a piece of earth music, a composition called Adagio for strings. She activated out of boredom. It made her feel something she hadn't known she could. Sorrow. For the next week, she played it in private. Then she made a critical error. She spared another colony. Officially, She cited poor atmospheric conditions. Unofficially, she remembered Elias mentioning that the colony had a library that preserved ancient Earth writings. It was a library, not a weapon, not a base. She couldn't destroy it. When news reached Elias, he didn't gloat. He sent one word, "Thank you." It disturbed her more than if he'd mocked her. The Dominion noticed. Corval submitted a formal request for inquiry. A high emissary arrived to observe her conduct. She returned to full military brutality. Raids, suppression, cities reduced to ash. But it felt wrong. She messaged Elias, "Is this what you expected?" He responded, "No, but it's what they trained you to be." That hit deeper than she admitted. Her next battle should have been decisive. The human resistance rallied at the Arclight Ridge, expecting to be obliterated. Elias was rumored to be there. She prepared her forces. She watched from orbit, and she didn't launch. She stared at the terrain, the evac shuttles, the children. She gave the order to stand down. Her officers were stunned. The Dominion emissary demanded an explanation. She said, "Tactical reassessment." He called her a traitor. She ignored him. Later, alone, she activated the secure channel. "Elias," she said, "I think I've made a mistake." He replied instantly, "Or maybe you remembered something." "What could I remember?" she asked. "That you were once alive, before they programmed you to win." No one had ever spoken to her like that. That night, she stayed up reading human poetry, not for analysis, just to feel. Rumors spread in the fleet. She didn't care. Elias's next message was simple. "You don't have to destroy us to survive." But that was the only thing she had ever known. She asked, "If I stop, what do I become?" He replied, "Free." The emissary reported her conduct. A tribunal was convened. She was summoned back to the Dominion Corps. She declined. The fleet waited. Her captains were confused, divided. She called Elias again. "What if they come for me?" "They will," he said, "but you won't be alone." "You think your people will protect me?" "No," he said. "They'll hate you, but they'll understand you. That's more powerful." Her flagship hovered above Earth. Her finger hovered over the command console. One word, and the bombardment would begin. Instead, she turned away. "I won't be their weapon anymore," she said. Behind her, alarms sounded. Corval had declared her unfit and seized control of part of the fleet. Civil war was beginning within her own ranks. Elias messaged her. "You gave him a choice. That's more than they ever expected." She responded, "Then I'll keep giving it." She stood between Earth and annihilation, not as a general, but as herself. And for the first time in her life, she felt something that wasn't engineered. Hope. The coup began in silence, but it spread like fire through the command structure. Corval wasted no time after Varax's refusal to raise Earth. He invoked ancient Dominion codes, declared her compromised by human influence, and called for her immediate removal. Half the fleet responded with programmed loyalty. The other half hesitated. Varaxa didn't fight back. Not immediately. She stood alone on the bridge of her dreadnought, watching Earth below, not as a conquest, but as a mirror. Everything in her life had been about domination, about making others bend. Elias had offered her something different. Not surrender, not even peace, just the choice. And now that choice had made her a target. The Internal Dominion Tribunal didn't wait for her to return. They tried her in absentia, stripped her of rank, labeled her a traitor to the chain. Her name, once synonymous with terror, became synonymous with failure. Yet, as her title dissolved, something inside her solidified. Corval sent her one last ultimatum. Step down or be eradicated. She deleted it without reading the full text. Instead, she contacted Elias. "They're coming." He didn't flinch. "Then we stand." "I'm not human." "No," he said, "but you chose like one." She stared at his words for minutes. Then, for the first time since her exile began, she sent a personal message, not encrypted, not hidden, to the people of Earth. I was sent to break you. I now stand with you. The reaction was immediate. Panic, confusion, fury, admiration. The human net exploded with speculation. Was it real? A trap? Propaganda? She didn't try to convince them. That wasn't her mission anymore. What she didn't expect was a reply from the UHC itself. Stand down. We do not trust you. Elias intervened. She's not Dominion anymore. We didn't invite her, the human brass replied. She's still a weapon. She chose. Elias said, that counts for something. After hours of deadlock, the council made a brutal call. Varaxa was to be treated as a neutral entity, not an enemy, not an ally, no protection. Varaxa accepted it without emotion. She turned the remnants of her fleet still loyal to her. 32 ships out of 300. It was enough for one last stand, maybe. Enough to slow Corval. Not enough to win. But Elias wasn't focused on victory. He was focused on disruption. We don't need to destroy them, he said. We just need to make them hesitate. Fear won't work, she replied. No, he said, but doubt might. They drafted the plan in secret, a combined effort. Elias would leak strategic misinformation to Dominion communication networks, exploiting Varaxa's override code still embedded deep in older AI systems. Meanwhile, Varaxa's fleet would appear at Dominion rally points, then vanish. False strikes, ghost signatures, confusion. The Dominion began chasing shadows. Corval diverted 3 entire task groups to dead space corridors chasing fabricated rebellions. Then Varaxa struck once. At the supply corridor that fed Corval's forward fleet. She didn't destroy it. She commandeered it. Every crate, every fuel cell rerouted, not to her, to Earth. It was the first material aid humans had received from a Dominion vessel. They didn't thank her. They just used it. But the gesture echoed. The Dominion fleets hesitated. Some captains remembered her victories. Others remembered her mercy. Whispers spread. Then a destroyer under Corval's command refused to fire on her ship during a skirmish. Not out of loyalty, but confusion. That confusion was deadly. Varaxa and Elias coordinated another strike, this time at a Dominion listening post. Not to destroy it, but to hijack its network. And Varaxa broadcast a single sentence in 100 languages. You can follow orders or you can follow truth. The broadcast looped for hours before Corval shut it down. But it had been heard. Back on Earth, Elias faced resistance of his own. The human high command questioned his judgment. She's using you, they warned. She's a strategist. Her betrayal might be another tactic. He didn't argue. Instead, he said, then let me be wrong. I'd rather trust and fall than never trust at all. They didn't understand it, but they didn't stop him. One morning, Varaxa messaged him. They're close. Who? My former execution fleet. Corval's bringing them himself. Will you fight? No, she said. I will stand. Then I'll stand with you. Elias took a shuttle and boarded her vessel. Alone. When he arrived, she studied him. This was the first time they met in person. No armor. No encryption. Just 2 minds that had once been enemies. You're smaller than I imagined, she said. You're taller than you sounded. She smiled. For the first time, not a war smile. Just a smile. Why are you here? She asked. Because if they destroy you, he said, they'll destroy the only proof that even monsters can choose not to be monsters. She didn't reply. Later that day, Dominion warships dropped from hyperspace. Varaxa's fleet stood between them and Earth. Outgunned, outnumbered, Corval hailed her. You chose insects over honor. She replied, I chose life over death. You were my sister in conquest, he said. Now you're nothing. I'm more than I ever was. Corval cut the channel. The Dominion fired first. Her ships moved with precision, not to destroy, but to block. Shields layered over Earth. They absorbed impact. They lost vessels. They held. Elias watched from her command deck. Calm. Are we losing? He asked. Yes, she said. Then we're doing something right. The battle raged for hours. Then the impossible happened. Two Dominion ships turned on Corval's flank, fired warning shots. Varaxa watched in disbelief. Then three more joined. A fracture, small but real. Corval panicked. "Cease your mutiny." But they didn't answer. They were remembering who she had been, and who she had become. The tide didn't turn, but it wavered. Elias opened the fleet-wide comms. "To anyone listening, you don't have to be loyal to death. You can be loyal to something greater, to choice." Varaxa stood beside him, and they listened. By the end of the day, 12 Dominion vessels refused further action. Not allies, but no longer enemies. Corval retreated to rearm. The battlefield fell into silence. Earth had not been destroyed, but it hadn't been saved either. It had survived, as did she. In the aftermath, Varaxa returned to orbit, her remaining ships barely operational, her systems damaged, but she felt free. She and Elias stood at the viewport, watching the sunrise over Earth. "I still don't understand you," she admitted. "You're not supposed to," he replied. "You're just supposed to see us as more than targets." "And you see me as more than a monster?" "No," he said. "I see you as someone trying to stop being one." She looked at him for a long time. "Maybe there's more than one war worth fighting," she said. And for once, she didn't mean war with weapons. She meant the war inside herself. Corval was humiliated but far from finished. His pride wounded, he began amassing a second wave, bigger, meaner, engineered to ensure no hesitation would cost him another battle. He was no longer fighting for the Dominion. He was fighting to crush the one traitor who had dared walk away. This time, no orders would be questioned. No ships would falter. Varaxa knew he would return. She also knew she wouldn't survive another full engagement. But something had shifted. Earth had seen her stand between it and destruction. She wasn't forgiven, but she was no longer hated. It started with cautious dialogue. Small countries requesting her input on planetary defense. Scientists asking about her species' tech. Students uploading reaction videos debating if she could be trusted. And then a message came, not from generals, but from human civilians. "We know you chose. We know it cost you." She didn't expect the gratitude. She barely understood it. One night aboard her half-functional dreadnought, Elias found her staring at the old Dominion insignia embedded in the wall, a cracked relic of who she'd been. "I still hear the voices," she admitted. "The ones that trained me, that broke me, that turned me into what I became." "They never stop," Elias replied. "You just get better at drowning them out." "And what if I fail?" "Then fail forward. Keep going anyway." She turned to him. "You're not afraid of me anymore?" "No," he said. "You stopped being terrifying the moment you cared what I thought." It was quiet between them. Not awkward, not heavy, just quiet. That night, for the first time in her life, she slept without locking the door. The next day, Earth made an offer, one no Dominion citizen had ever received. Citizenship, conditional, monitored, but real. Varaxa didn't know how to respond. She wasn't human. She wasn't Earthborn. And she wasn't innocent. Elias said only one thing. "You don't have to be born here to belong here." She signed the pact. The process took days. Papers, biometric readings, negotiations. But when it was done, she was no longer a general, no longer Dominion, no longer wanted only for destruction. She had a name, a place. Varaxa, Earth resident, advisor, witness. Corval reacted with predictable rage. "You've disgraced your blood, your history, your DNA. You are filth now." She didn't respond. She didn't have to. Earth had already spoken. As expected, Corval returned. This time, not to destroy a planet, but to make an example, to drag her broken body back through Dominion space and parade it like a warning. But the battlefield was no longer the stars. It was opinion, influence, minds, human hackers, using codes Varaxa had taught them, infiltrated Dominion fleet comms, spreading confusion, leaks, footage of her shielding Earth, recordings of Corval's angry declarations. Dominion soldiers began to ask themselves questions. Why was she hunted if she no longer fought? Why fear her if she no longer killed? And then a single Dominion warship turned itself over to Earth's orbiting stations, not because they defected, because they didn't want to be part of the execution. Earth now had a prisoner, willing, confused, but cooperative. Varaxa visited the captain personally. Her posture was rigid, her voice cold. Why did you come here? The captain looked at her, trembling. Because I watched you stop fighting. That's not reason enough. No, he admitted, but then I watched him. He pointed to Elias in the room's viewing window. I watched you change for him. Varaxa didn't answer. Later, she confronted Elias. They think you made me soft. Did I? No, she said. You made me question. Then that's enough. Corval's second invasion was less brutal, more surgical. He wanted her. Not Earth, not humanity. Just her. He broadcast a final challenge. Face me alone, or I will take the sky apart until nothing remains between us. Varaxa stood before Earth's leadership. Let me go. They refused. You're one of us now, they said. We protect our own. But she insisted. This is not your war anymore. He wants me. Elias fought hardest. You don't have to prove anything. I do, she said. Not to him. To myself. The plan was simple. Varaxa would meet Corval on the ruined moon of Therax. Neutral ground. No fleets. No backup. One-on-one. It was old Dominion tradition. Trial by legacy. He accepted immediately. When she left Earth, she took only one thing. Elias's dog tag, a human artifact he never explained. For luck, he said. She smiled. I don't believe in luck. Believe in me, then. She said nothing, just nodded. The duel was brutal, not elegant, not poetic. Varaxa was outmatched. Corval had modified his body with Dominion tech, enhanced strength, speed, reaction. But Varaxa wasn't fighting to win. She was fighting to end it. Blow after blow, she wore him down. Not physically, morally. She taunted his obsession, his desperation. You're not avenging the Dominion, she hissed through blood. You're avenging your pride. You broke our code. No, she said. I rewrote it. He nearly killed her. But in his final lunge, she triggered a pulse, using Elias's dog tag as a makeshift trigger. A localized EMP, learned from human scientists. Crude, unrefined, but enough. Corval's enhancements failed for 3 seconds. That's all she needed. She didn't kill him. She left him unconscious. When the Dominion fleet found his body, broken but alive, they didn't celebrate. They went silent. And in that silence, Earth transmitted a message. This is what humanity offers. Not domination, not fear, but the right to choose your ending. Varaxa returned to Earth in a medical pod. Broken bones, damaged lungs. But alive. Elias waited. You didn't win, he said. No, she replied. I stopped losing. He took her hand, and for the first time, she didn't pull away. As she recovered, human children began drawing pictures of her. Some had her with wings, others riding dragons. One, oddly, had her baking cookies. She kept that one, because it was absurd, and because it meant she had become more than a weapon. Months passed. Earth did not go to war with the Dominion. There was no treaty, just an absence of conflict. Varaxa was given a home, not on a base, not in orbit, a cabin in the mountains, surrounded by nature. She didn't ask for it. Elias chose it for her. Quiet place, he said, gives you room to think. She lived there alone for a while, thinking, and then one day he visited with a question. Would you let me stay? She looked at him for a long time. I don't know how to be human. You don't have to, he said. You just have to try. She stepped aside. He entered. Years later, no official monument marked her name. No textbook praised her. But in that cabin, there was a small wooden carving of 2 hands, one alien, one human, clasped together. Beneath it, she surrendered, not to war, to peace. And that was enough.